What is popping, y'all? It is your man, Clawboy Bales, and welcome to another episode of Wisco Sports Weekly. Today's episode, well, just like I do with the Brewers every year, I don't ever do it with the Packers, but I figured why not? It is my 20 predictions going into this year's Green Bay Packers season. Lots, I think, possibly could happen. 20 predictions for this season. And obviously, let's get into this right away because we have a lot to talk about. So if you like what you see, subscribe below, comment with your thoughts, and let's get down to business. All right, number one. I say this obviously talks about Jordan Love. I figure let's just start talking about Jordan Love. He finally signed that contract extension. We're all happy. My prediction is that Jordan Love will pass for over 4,500 yards. He'll get 30 touchdowns once again. Unfortunately, I feel like he'll struggle to take care of the ball this time. I think we're going to see him throw more interceptions this year, as we saw kind of him forcing a lot of passes last year. You know, there's going to be a little point in the season where he starts to really not, struggle to take care of it. But then obviously as time goes on, he'll start to get more compatible with whatever offensive schemes that we have. And I think it's important. But I think Jordan Love is going to have a better, he's going to pass for definitely more yards this year. And knowing that he's been more, I think he's a lot more comfortable. But it's just going to be more of him really trying to be in this element. I hope that I'm wrong and he completely outshines everybody, but we'll see. I think Jordan Love definitely will do the best he can to his ability to lead us to the postseason in his second year as a starter. Number two, I think for the first time since 2020, we have finally get someone in the double digits for the sacks. I think Rashan Gary will finally will break it. Obviously, the last couple of seasons, we could not get someone to get more than 10 sacks in a season. Obviously, the last time someone did it was Za'Darius Smith back in 2020. In 2021, we barely was able to find someone to be able to do. I mean, Rashan Gary got 9 that year. Then he got injured. Then Preston Smith, I think, had the most. And last year we had Preston Smith and Rashan Gary both, I think, get like 9 apiece or something. I'm just saying, I think this is Rashan Gary's moment. I think a lot of people, I think he's one of the most underrated pass rushers in all of football. I think this is the year he finally gets onto the scene. I'm glad that they're not practicing him as much, but I really can't wait to see what Gary brings. I think he's fully healthy and recovered from that ACL tear, and I think he's going to definitely finally do it. Number 3. Jaire Alexander stays healthy the entire season, has a great comeback season, really shows why he is one of the best cover corners in all of football. Now, in practice, our guys are really outdoing him, and I get it. I think he's not going to have the 2020 year that he had where basically no one could even get a catch off him. I think people are going to start to throw to him, but I definitely see that compared to last year where he just spent the last year almost injured, getting himself into trouble, all that stuff. I just see Jaire Alexander, being healthy. I think this is a huge awakening moment. He's going to just go off this season, get a couple interceptions. I think it's going to be great. But unfortunately, because of this will be his final year with the Packers. I just don't see us having the money to keep paying him year by year. I just don't see it. I think that this will be his last year as a Packer. I hate to be the one to say this, but it's like you got to cut one position and redraft it if we want to stay a young organization. And unfortunately, I see that with Jaire Alexander. Next, Edgerrin Cooper. Unfortunately, he's injured right now. He hasn't practiced in like 2 weeks. I hope that's not serious. But when I was saying that when he was healthy and when he was practicing, man, that guy was legit looking like a beast. I hope that he's okay. I hope that he'll be ready for the start of the season. If not, that sucks. But my initial prediction at the start of training camp was, if healthy, he will lead the team with tackles, and I think he wins Defensive Rookie of the Year. I think he brings a new identity to the Jeff Hafley defense, and the rookies that we drafted are going to be huge tacklers. Even Bullard, I think Bullard will get the second most tackles. I think our rookies are going to actually be the most contributors on this defense, which is crazy enough to really think about. But that's how I see it. Number 5, this has to do with our offensive line. We all know Elgin Jenkins will likely be at the left guard spot. I think Zach Tom will start the season at right tackle, but eventually he'll be moved around and end the season, I think. Right now, I was thinking actually say center, but right now I think right guard. Jordan Morgan, I think, is going to start there at the moment. I think I don't think Morgan's going to be quite exquisite right away. He suffered a minor injury. I hope it's not severe, and I hope it's okay. But, Rasheed Walker's great at the left tackle spot. I think they're going to eventually work Morgan in at the left tackle spot, maybe move Rasheed Walker to the right tackle spot because our guard depth is terrible. Sean Ryan, there's a reason why they don't play him. He must suck. We know how Royce Newman is. We know he can't block for anything, and Myers is just an average center. He's nothing spectacular, but this center that is really making a lot of noise, and I said was going to actually be a steal, is Jacob Monk. He is actually good. And I think by the end of the season, Myers will be benched and Jacob Monk will be the starting center for the franchise's future, and Zach Tom will move to the other guard spot. And we will move Rasheed Walker to the right tackle spot, and Jordan Morgan will be left tackle. That's how I feel like it'll end later on. All right, number 6. I think Xavier McKinney leads the team with the most interceptions. Really starts out his campaign getting into the football, and he really has a great start. Unfortunately, I feel like he's just going to be slightly injured a lot this season. But I feel like when he's healthy, he's going to really be contributing and making plays, and it's going to be exciting. I really don't know what else to say, but he's got a nose to dive for the football. I mean, he's going to be great. I think he'll fit the role better, and I think he'll last maybe about 3 of the 4 years of his contract. We'll see how he does, but I think he fits his role really well when he is healthy. Hopefully he is. And at the number 7 spot, who is it? Oh yeah, Joshua Jacobs. I think when he's healthy, we saw he was the leading rusher in 2022. This year, when healthy, this O-line is better than the Raiders O-line. And I can't wait for his role with the offense. I think he's actually going to get a touchdown catch for the first time in his career. Yeah, I guess he has a lot of receptions, but no touchdown catches. Weird. But I think he is going to be a huge role for this offense, get about 10 touchdowns. And, I can't wait to see how Joshua Jacobs really fits with this Packers offense. Number 8, Kenny Clark. I think he continues to dominate as well. I feel like we won't, because this isn't a contract year anymore, they extended him for 3 more years, likely taking him to the end of his career. I think, he definitely shows up and does his things. I'm not going to say he does phenomenal, but I still think he is one of the best guys on the defense. I think some of the other guys on the defensive line are actually going to outperform him, but I'll get to that one later. But yeah, it'll be interesting. Number 9, I think Christian Watson finally breaks out of his shell and hopefully is healthy for more than 75% of the season. I just hope that. With the wide receiver depth, it's really going to be hard to determine who is wide receiver number 1 at the start of the season. Right now, I'd say maybe it's Romeo Doubs because of the connection, but I think Christian Watson is just going to be a red zone weapon. I think he actually gets the most touchdowns. I'll actually make a bold point. I think he's going to be in the top 5 for touchdowns scored. He's going to be a red zone weapon. He's going to be hard. His yard is going to be a lot of deep shots. We'll see. We saw that last year or the year before. Watson could just really make plays happen. But we'll see. I think he's going to definitely do some things. Number 10, Preston Smith. I think it's going to have a down year. I think, his age is going to slowly get up to him. He's the only one on the team that is still over the age of 30. I know, crazy, right? That's how young we are. But he's the only one that is old. I think Lucas Van Ness, who is having an honestly unbelievable camp this year, is going to eventually take over that spot. Preston Smith and Lucas Van Ness are kind of rotate Rashawn Gary, is going to be they're going to all rotate. I think Van Ness will be a starter by the end of the season, and I think Van Ness is really going to come out of his shell and just be phenomenal. And Preston Smith, obviously, this should be his final year as a Packer. As I've said every single season, it's just I think the Enikbari injury was the reason why we kept him, but Enikbari's okay, so it's good. We have a lot of depth. Even Carl Brooks, we got a lot. I think a lot of these guys are really going to outplay Preston Smith, and it's going to cause him to get benched. Number 11, Dontavian Wicks, by the end of the season, will be wide receiver 1. He will have the most catches and the most yards. He is literally Devontae. I call him Tay Wicks because he's like Dontavian, but he's also Tay as in Devontae. I think his route running is beyond phenomenal, and he has been the best receiver out of everyone in training camp. He is going to be a star. I think Romeo Doubs, will start out as wide receiver 1. We know how good of a red zone weapon he is, but I think Wicks is just going to outplay everyone. Even Jayden Reed. I feel like Jayden Reed is not even going to be phased in this offense at all. I know he's a slot receiver, and he was our best receiver last year, but I feel like Wicks is just going to phase everyone out. Number 12, Eric Stokes does see more of the field. I don't think he's going to be injured as much this season. I think he will see more of the field. However, it's just I feel like he just isn't going to be the guy, and I just don't really see him having a year where it's going to be great. I think Carrington Valentine, hopefully if he's healthy, or Corey Ballantyne will see more at that point. Number 13, when it comes to the tight end situation, I think Musgrave breaks out huge. I think Musgrave is going to be a top fantasy tight end. I think Kraft is going to be a solid blocker and be a great number 2 tight end. I like Kraft more than I like Musgrave, but when I think that literally, if you're in fantasy football, I would draft Luke Musgrave. I think he's going to have that good of a season where he scores a lot of red zone touchdowns because of his athleticism. I can't wait to see what he does. Number 14, I think that this is a prove-it year for Quay Walker. If Edgerrin Cooper is the guy that I think he's going to be, I think Quay Walker is going to get phased out of this team. I know this is his 3rd year, but I've had a lot of criticism for him. He needs to really show up this season. It's, I think Isaiah McDuffie is actually going to replace him as a starter if, Quay Walker does not show up. Walker will likely be the starter next year because I think Isaiah McDuffie is a free agent after this year, but a lot can happen. Number 15, Keyshawn Nixon scores at least 2 touchdowns with the new kickoff format. I think, we're going to see Keyshawn Nixon really, they haven't been using him in preseason. Maybe I think they're just resting him because they know how good he is, or maybe not. I don't know, but I can't wait to see how this new kickoff format works. I think he'll get two of them, and he'll win the Special Teams Player of the Year. Number 16, our rookie safeties are going to really show up and make a lot of heads turn. Javon Bullard will start at the strong safety spot. He's going to be second on the team in tackles, and he is going to be the legit deal. I've never been more excited for a safety in my life. Clinton Dix didn't really give me much excitement. That other guy from North Dakota State, or what was his name? Was his name Josh Jacobs too? I think his name was Josh Jacobs. But he didn't give me any excitement. Darnell Savage gave me no excitement. You know what? But this guy, he gives me excitement. I've never been more excited for a safety in my life. And even Evan Williams. This is a guy that literally is all over the football. He's a small dude, but he's all over the football. I think he might actually take over Keyshawn Nixon's spot at the nose tackle, the nickelback spot, because of his ability to tackle and come in for blitzes and do that. I feel like we'll see I think we'll see that. And even Keaton Oladapo, and even Anthony Johnson. It's going to be a battle. Oladapo might just be on the special teams, but Oladapo was a guy that I said was a huge steal. He could be a backup guy. He got a lot of interceptions in college. We'll see what happens. I don't know. Number 17, regardless of who our kicker is, he'll still suck and he won't be on the team next year. My guess, Anders Carlson will unfortunately win the job because Greg Joseph has even been slightly better, but I just feel like they're so attached to trying to make Anders better, but he just never will be. Number 18, I think TJ Slayton and Devontae Wyatt both have career years. Slayton is really going to be valued as someone that you would hopefully want to bring back in free agency, but I just don't see them bringing him back. Devontae Wyatt will have a heck of a year 3. I think Kenny Clark and Wyatt are and Slayton are all going to kind of rotate within the center. Nose tackle, defensive tackle spots. I really can't wait to see what play calls we have, but I think we're going to see Wyatt really come out of his shell, and Slayton is just going to be, he keeps getting better. These two keep getting better and better every year, and I can't wait to see it. Even Wyatt was phenomenal in that game against the Browns. And then our number 19, I think Marshawn Lloyd, who is the rookie I'm most excited for, will unfortunately get the A.J. Dillon treatment, and he'll barely play it all this year. He already suffered a minor injury. We already have Josh Jacobs. We already have A.J. Dillon. Even Emmanuel Wilson. You know what? We have guys that have gotten already enough playing time. Marshawn Lloyd's a rookie. You know what? You could rest him. If he's injured and he's not ready, why work him in there? Why wait until he's ready for next year? I saw how he is in college. I'm excited for him. I think he's the best running back in the draft. But you're already behind 2 running backs. A.J. Dillon, this is likely his last year as a Packer. And once he's gone, and even Emmanuel Wilson likely be gone, that's when Marshawn Lloyd comes in. I feel like maybe he'll get like a game where he comes in and outshines everyone, but I'm excited. And then finally, the Packers. And then my number 20 prediction, the Packers will make the playoffs as a wild card team. I think they'll finish second behind the Detroit Lions. I think Detroit's going to actually have the best record in football this season. I think the Packers will lose both times to the Lions this year, but the Lions will overlook us in the postseason, and we will beat them in whatever round that will be. I think wild card round or divisional round, depending on if they get a bye or not. But I think we'll get maybe a 6th or a 7th seed. But we'll see what happens. A lot can happen. In the meantime, if you like what you see, subscribe below, comment with your thoughts. Schedule predictions will be coming out soon. And as always, we will see you next time. Go Pack Go.